the Soulmate Myth. But before I get into today's video, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I come up with more videos. And please do share my videos with people who like stuff about mental health, psychology, relationships, supplements to help anxiety and depression, etc. And thank you to everyone who's been doing those things already. But on to today's video, the Soulmate Myth. So before I begin, I will say there are certain people out there that do find someone and stay together till death do they part. This is not an impossible thing. But what the soulmate myth is the fact that there's someone out there for every single one of us that God or the universe has preordained to be just for us, our other half. And that's what I'm disputing here. Because it does so many things poorly. It gives people a bad framework to which to view the world from. And let me explain how. So people get brought up on videos or Disney or romance comedies, etc., where everything seems to be put on hold until someone finds their soulmate, until they find their significant other. And it makes people live their lives like waiting to find that significant other, or not being happy until they find their significant other, or putting their happiness, instead of taking responsibility for their own happiness, they put it on someone else. And it's just a bad lens in which to see the world. Now, in our grandparents' and parents' generation, it seemed much more likely for someone to find someone and be with that person forever. So the soulmate myth seemed to be a little more reasonable then. But in today's present-day climate, if you look around, it's not really too reasonable for many people anymore. Sure, there's people that are married, but there's plenty of people who are single, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, plenty of people who are divorced 2 or 3 times, single mothers, single fathers, and for all those people, is they just didn't find their soulmate? Or is it more likely that there's good ones and there's bad ones, but no the one or soulmate? I think that lens is a much more appropriate lens at which to see the world through. And let me explain further. When we forget about the idea of a soulmate or the one, and we just live our own lives, we take complete responsibility for our own happiness, for our career, our goals, our hobbies, our relationships with friends and family, and just live as if it doesn't exist. And ironically, living as if a soulmate or the one doesn't exist, and that we have complete responsibility for our own happiness, that makes us much more likely to find a good person for us, or for that good person to find us. But the very act of thinking, oh, I gotta keep my eyes out for this soulmate, this one that's gonna be the person that the universe or God made just for me to be in my life, that actual thought, I think, makes it much less likely to find a good person, contradictorily, right? So this idea seemed to make sense before, and I used to grow up with this idea. I thought that there'd be someone out there just for me, but my life experience has made that less true. But here's the thing. I don't mind that it has. I feel like I've gotten to this new level of acceptance, happiness, and peace. It's because I know there is no soulmate or the one. I may find someone good that we can work something out together and be on the same page and be happy. But I've given up this idea of there's just one person just for me. I gotta find that one person. The very idea of thinking there was one person made me much more susceptible to the love bombing of a narcissist. I also agree. For those of you who don't know, narcissists, they love bomb people when they first meet someone, which means what? They mirror and they act like they like all the same things you like and dislike all the same things you dislike, and they mirror your every move. And for someone who believes in the soulmate myth, this may very well seem like you found your one. You found your soulmate. The person's exactly like you. It's your other half. But it's like, no. You certainly did not find your soulmate. You found a narcissist that the second they find out that you're human, they're going to devalue and then later on discard you, and then wash, rinse, repeat those cycles over and over again, except the love bombing cycle will get shorter and shorter. So, the fact that I believe there is no one, it's a freeing feeling. It's acceptance. Like, there's good people out there, and it might work, but I'm okay regardless of whether I find someone to have it work with or not. And I've actually noticed, because I've been single for quite a while, that I feel better when I'm not in a relationship a lot of times. I feel more at peace. I feel more just cool with me. And I think it's just a product of having to work on myself for so long, having to be on my own for so long. And now I'm pretty selective. I'm pretty selective because the people we include in our lives, they're extensions of our own thoughts, our own goals, our own values. And that part is always true. So for me, I'm glad that I don't believe in the soulmate myth anymore. And I'm still open to having someone come into my life and have a happy relationship, but that myth of just one person, and I gotta fall happily ever after with this one person, that's poisonous, if you ask me. Absolute poison. And not to mention, in those Disney movies, they leave out the part where the relationship becomes work. Like, it's sometimes hard when you're forcing each other to grow, continuing to communicate with one another, and getting uncomfortable to get comfortable. It's not easy. Like, it's not like the story ends there. It's like, no, that marriage that happens there, that's just the beginning. The rest of it's the story, the having kids, juggling all the responsibilities of jobs and chores and childhood care, and it's a lot. But this myth of the soulmate, I challenge all the rest of you too. Throw it away. Take complete responsibility for your own happiness and see what happens. I think the results could be miraculous because a lot of people, they're just waiting. They're waiting for that other person to come in and save them, or they're staying in a bad relationship because they'd rather have the familiar pain as opposed to the discomfort of having to be on their own. It's like, no, put all that stuff down. There are good people out there, and there are some bad people. But don't get caught up in thinking there's just one person. Just open your eyes to reality. Open your eyes and look around you. Like, the overwhelming majority of people, that is not the case. Right? It's great for people who do find one person, but I don't think it's the correct lens to see the world through. We're much better off believing there is no soulmate or the one, and living with us having to be responsible for our own happiness, as opposed to thinking there is a soulmate or the one and putting everything on hold, or silently just not living completely because we're waiting to find that person. It's like, no. That is not the right way. And in fact, it even makes it less likely to find a good person, to believe in the soulmate. So, don't believe in soulmates, don't believe in the one. And in fact, it'll make it much more likely that you'll be in a spot to find someone. Not to say that person's the one, or your soulmate, but by taking full responsibility of your own happiness, of our own happiness, and living to the best of our ability, having goals and hobbies, etc., it's just a better way to live. So, comment below if you agree with my take, disagree with my take. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so with that, over and out.